I want to confess I am weak, and I gave into temptation. I I I couldn't. I was on the library list. I was 75 in line on the library list. And once again, like I did the first time, even though I knew better, and I had to go back and watch my first video on. Oh, be prepared for spoilers. Be prepared for a tremendous amount of spoilers, by the way. And welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina Kairos, Tina. This is where we read books and we talk about books. There's no special effects. There's no theme music. There's none of that fancy smancy stuff going on here. And if you could please spread the word and tell people I hear that I exist, I'd appreciate it. I just want people to know I exist and just watch my videos to let people know I'm here. But I was on the list last year for this other book. And I knew better. And I knew better, and I still did it anyway. And I was mad at myself for doing it. And I still did it. And I went and I was anxious for the second book, and the second book comes out. And I was pissed off at myself the whole beginning. And I'm going to show you something that helped me a lot. Miss Lara Hayes, LARAHAYES. I want to give her credit, and I told her I was going to do this. I told her I was going to mention her because I went looking. I said, you know what would make this book easier to understand? A family tree chart. And I couldn't find it anywhere. And apparently, the author doesn't want to release one till book 3. It's a trilogy set. The author writes trilogy sets. Actually, she's got a 60-book series out there. But she does other books in trilogies, a trilogy set. And I said to myself way back when, you need to wait till all 3 books come out and then do a binge read. You know better than this. But I gave in temptation last year, and the second book came out, and I literally was 75 on the list way back in November, early December. And I really, 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 really wanted to read this book. So I ordered it. And as you see now, it's the end of January. And I had this book in my to-be, and I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And finally, I just couldn't stand it anymore. And I had to read the book. And I'm telling you, all right, so before I forget, this is book 1. This is Inheritance. Please go check out my first video on this book last year. Please go check it out. I had to go watch it because I would normally do a reread, but I didn't want to do a reread because I wanted to get the video done for the next book. So I went back and watched my video and refreshed my memory. And then I ended up doing a reread again, going through some of the chapters again to get my mind up to going. And then I said, you know, what would make this better would be a family tree. Oh, and she left one kid out. Miss Hayes, you said the people had added stuff to your thing. You missed Cole Connors. You have listed here Arthur Poole and Letitia Almond, and you list a daughter. You don't have a name there. On page 348 of this book, The Mirror, Connor and Arabella have a daughter named Gwendolyn who marries Sebastian Haverton. So if you probably already have that in your thing, having read this book, but I would like to thank you for this chart. It printed out a little iffy on my thing, but there you go. If you can Google her chart, it comes up You Google Bride's Trilogy family tree, and Lara's thing comes up. It's the first thing you get if you Google it. So, let's try and get down to this. Like I said, I'm weak. And some of this is going to be a little on the repetitive side because you really, if you are a stronger person, and you see, my problem is, all right, I know it's stupid, but I have this problem, all right? My mother died and she was halfway through a book, and I had to return the book to the library, and she will never know how it ends. Because it was Michael Connelly's Angel Flight, and that's why I'll never read Michael Connelly's books, because every time I see a Michael Connelly's book, I think of the fact that my mother was reading Angel's Flight and she died halfway through the book, and she'll never know how it ends. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I like to binge read, is because I'm afraid that I won't live to see the next book come out. I know it's kind of stupid, but that's why I like to wait till there are 20 or 30 books in the series and then do a massive binge read, so that there's always a next book, so I'm never without a next book. And if you watch my series from any given time, you know I am a huge, massive J.D. Robb fan. In the olden days, before Amazon, I was at Barnes & Noble at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, on the day In Death was coming out. And in the last summer years, I would go and they wouldn't even have the book out yet, or it wasn't unboxed yet, and I was getting so frustrated at Barnes. And Amazon just became a better deal. It just did, because I ordered a book from Barnes & Noble. Someone had given me a gift card. I ordered it on Christmas Day. On Christmas Day. I got the book 2.5 months later on my birthday. So I have never ordered from Barnes again. And I now order from Amazon, and you get it within a couple of days, most likely with Amazon. Or if you pre-order, you actually might get it on the day of publication or the next day. But Amazon has a much better delivery rate than Barnes & Noble does. So anyways, back to these two books. There may be a little overlapping because I had to do some overlapping when I went to read it. And be prepared for spoilers. And I do have a complaint. A big, huge, massive complaint. She hasn't even attempted to get the rings. Has not even attempted at any sort of time to get the rings. None. What she is collecting is portraits. So I don't know what's up with the collecting with the portraits, but she's collecting portraits. And she hasn't even made any attempt to get any of the rings. And it just hit me at the end of book 1, and I'd forgotten that, and I got into book 2, and I'm reviewing all my notes. Please go watch the video for this book. Please go watch it, because it'll help catch you up and prepare you for this one. And if you are brave, and if you have a backbone, which I do not, and I will freely admit it, I was weak. If you can wait till the third book comes out, wait till the third book out and do a binge read. Because it will make it so much easier to understand the books if you can do a binge read. This is my fault. I never should have done this now. I should have waited till next year and done a binge read. And I'm sorry, I'm really stuck on this horse here. So, alright, so let me get through all my stories. So after reading a page or two of the book, I stopped and had to rewatch my video for the book to refresh my memory. I actually went and got The Inheritance and reread certain pages, and of course the family tree stuff. Alright, so I said all this. I really think a small recap would help. The Inheritance starts out with the murder of Astrid Granville on her wedding day to Colin Poole. She was married, and her wedding ring, and she was murdered, and her wedding ring removed before she could get to the bridal bed. Then we start the book with Sonia being engaged to Brandon, and she comes home early one day, and she catches Brandon in bed with her cousin. She then tells her best friend Cleo and her mother, whose name is Winter. When I started a spreadsheet on who all the characters are. Then she decides to quit her job and pursue a solo career as a freelance artist who designs websites. Then she hears from Oliver Doyle, an attorney for the late Colin Poole. He claims he is her uncle, and he informs her that unbeknownst to her, her father had a twin brother, and he tells her that her father, Andrew McTavish, was born March 2nd, 1965. He was adopted as an infant by Marcia and John McTavish. He then proceeds to tell her that she has inherited a house that resembles a castle. It's big up in Maine, and there's enough money set up in trust to pay all the bills on the house for a very, very long time, including the taxes. Trey Doyle greets her and welcomes her to Lost Bride Manor. He tells her it was named by the Lost Bride Manor by the locals. He tells her about the house was built by Arthur Poole 200 years ago. He built it for his first wife, Astrid Granville, who died on her wedding day, and the wedding ring was removed. Then he shows her some of the rooms in the house, and she sees a painting by her father and doesn't understand. Mr. Poole had it in his house. She did not know her father knew Mr. Poole. She really likes the house and could see herself living here for many years. Trey is also a lawyer who works for the family firm. Cleo, her best friend, moves in. So, all right. Then they do a bunch of stuff in book one. You can finish reading book one. When book one ends where book two starts. Book one ends with her and Owen going through the mirror. So, Owen and Sonia go through the mirror and they see Lisbeth Poole's wedding receptionist, where she dies by 13 spider bites. They also witness Hester Dobbs taking the wedding ring. Then Sonia does some work on her account, Cleo food shops, and can we talk about it? Getting some revenge on Hester Dobbs. They're gonna throw a huge party. They've discovered that Hester Dobbs does not like happiness. She does not like happiness, so they're going to throw a huge big party. The party is at the very end of this book. And they talk about it almost, stuff happens. It's like a month or 2 months down the road. So this book takes place over a certain period of time. So they talk about doing the party and stuff like that. Then Sonia, and Cleo, they decide that they write the invitations. Then Owen and Trey arrive for dinner, and Owen is going to end up being Chloe's boyfriend, and Trey is going to end up being Sonia's boyfriend. And they get a cat, they get a couple of cats, they get a couple of dogs. They're starting to get a real menage. Then Hester Poole Dobbs cast a spell when she killed Agatha Poole. With my blood I took the first, then by blood this house was cursed. One by one they went, they died because they seek to take what's mine. She opened her eyes, and with their wings of gold my spell will hold and hold. She stabbed Astrid by her blade. She killed herself here by her blood. And wait a minute, see if I can get this better. Because I'm not reading it right. Because, did you ever try Google dictation? It sucks. It really sucks. She stabbed Astrid by her blade. She killed herself here by her blood. And yeah, the rings are the key to the holding the spell, the curse. That's the other part. They, not she, not Astrid, they seek to take what's mine. Not Colin Poole, Sonia, or not just Colin Poole. The manor. Not love for Colin, however deranged, the manor. He inherited the manor from Arthur Poole from his father after his father had a riding accident. But was it a riding accident? And you later on in the book get to witness what really happened the day that Arthur Poole died. So Hester wanted to seduce Colin Poole and make him her spouse, and then she would be the lady of the manor. But Colin doesn't want to. He wants to marry Astrid. And see, that's where this thing comes in handy. I can't tell you how many times I looked at this, and I even started to I decided to make a spreadsheet to write who everybody was. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I could do a family tree chart and then, just make the chart not attended to my family. And I'm like, if I know my old family tree program, it would probably make these as real people. So I was like, I am so glad that Miss Hayes did this. It was just so awesome because she numbered them and she said who the seven. So Arthur Poole and Letitia Armand are the first. Then Colin Poole and Astrid. And Astrid was killed 1806. She was stabbed by Hester Dobbs. Then Catherine Poole and William Cobbett. Catherine died in 1828. She was left out in a blizzard and she froze to death. Then Mary Ann, who was married to Hugh Poole, she died in childbirth in 1864. Bride number 4, Agatha Winnard, was married to Owen David Poole, and she died in 1892. She was poisoned. Now, Patricia Yarnsborough, and there's a good piece of story about her. We learn later in the book that she had an encounter with Hester prior to her wedding. And the encounter happened early enough that what's her face? Patricia was able to decide that because of the stuff that Hester said, and whether she told anybody about it, we don't know. But because of her encounter with Hester, she did not marry in the house, she did not have a wedding receptionist at the house, and she had another house built at the other end of town, and she never stepped foot in the manor house again after the encounter with Hester. So instead, David married, all right, where was I? Elizabeth Poole, the daughter of, David Poole. No. I think it's, no, yeah, Hugh. Elizabeth Poole, she married Edward Whitmore, and she dies in 1916 of spider bites. And she died because Michael Poole and Patricia moved to the other house. And then Charles Poole married Lillian Clover, and Lillian Clover has a significant role throughout the entire book. Her and Molly the maid. And Lillian dies in childbirth in 1965. And then Colin Poole married Joanna, and Joanna died in 1996. She falls down the stairs, and we witness her murder in the book by Hester too. And there's a lot of stuff with Hester in this book. We get to know Hester Dobbs quite significantly. They also talk about what happened to Sonia's father and how he was a twin and how the twins were separated and how Patricia Youngsborough formulated that plan that the twins were going to be, the one twin was going to be adopted and she would make Greta raise the other twin. So that you get a lot of history of the family in here. I could sit here and read the whole book to you. So, and then a few months after Lillian Clover died in childbirth, Charlie hanged himself and Patricia took over. She unquestionably was a bully, and she had the authority to cover it up. She laid the groundwork would become the family secret, and her daughter Greta let herself be used that way. And it's a really good book. But she goes to the mirror a few times. She has several encounters with Hester Dobbs. We learn what happened to Hester Dobbs and how Hester Dobbs died. And she's doing all this stuff. And I want to know, I still don't understand. I've got 30 something pages of notes here. But 2 books, and she hasn't made a single attempt to get a ring. She hasn't made or even thought of making an attempt to get to the wedding or the event and get there before Hester does. She knows exactly when it happens. She knows exactly how it happens. Why doesn't she go back in time and try to prevent it, or try and prevent Hester from taking the rings, or trying to do something? But after every encounter, or not every encounter, but mostly, she's collecting portraits. The portraits just end up showing up. They open a closet door, there's a portrait. So they're getting the portraits of all the women. They're hanging the portraits in the hall. And I want to know, maybe she's not supposed to collect the rings. Maybe she's supposed to collect the portraits. Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember if someone could point this out to me. But maybe they're wearing the wedding rings in the portraits, and I don't know. But that's a little frustrating that she's not even attempted to get the wedding rings yet. She's just gathering all these portraits, and Trey has some stuff go on with a client that's really unfair, and it's a very sad event that happens with one of his clients. And then we hear from Brandon again, Sophie's fiance that slept with the cousin in the first book. So we visit him, and he's still a dirty animal, and he's still trying to corrupt her career, and she's doing quite well in her career. Her uncle left her very comfortable. She really doesn't have to do anything, but she is pursuing a career, and she is making a living, and things are going well. I could see her and Trey getting married after they solve this curse, because she can't do anything until after this curse is solved and after Hester is defeated. But that will happen in book 3, and I really regret not waiting till next year to read all 3 books. It might eat me alive that they were all sitting here, but I know Nora. I know she writes in trilogies, and I knew it before I started, and I shouldn't have started. But now I'm hooked, so I'm screwed till next year. But however, in a couple of weeks, we will have the new In Death book, and I am so looking forward to that. She's JD Robb on the other side, and I love my JD Robb. Like I said, I'll be in the olden days, I would be a Barnes & Noble at 9 a.m. like I said previously. But I'm doing an Amazon order. I've got an Amazon gift card. But, so let me know what you think of this book. I could sit here and read all the stuff that happens. There is an interesting, we get to meet some of her relatives. They show up for the party at the end of the book. And there's a little, tying up of some loose ends with family members, some stuff that gets revealed at the end. But I wanted to see if I could find it. See, I don't have her meeting with Patricia Yarborough. This is the meeting that caused her to leave, and she didn't tell anybody about it. Patricia Youngsborough walked into the library with the air of the woman who owned it and everything else she wanted. As Patricia glided through the room, fingers trailing over furniture, flowers, petals, Sonia heard the music more clearly. A woman's throaty voice sang, "Long ago and far away, I dreamed a dream one day." The diamond on Patricia's left hand flashed light as she turned to admire it. "And now within the year," she murmured, "Mrs. Michael Poole of the Poole's ship, Mrs. Patricia Youngsbury Poole, mistress of Poole Manor. All this, when I take the Poole name, is mine, and well earned. There, perfect as Patricia Youngsborough Poole, Poole's Bay of Poole Manor, must and will be at all times and always." That old bad magic Hester Dobbs stood on the steps leading up to the library's second floor. I believe I know all the guests, but we haven't been met. Who are you? I am mistress of the manor, as you will never be. Distaste snapped in anger and flooded color into her face. What nonsense is this? You will leave this house, or I will have my fiancé remove you. Ignorant woman, I have ruled in this house for more than 130 years. You'll have hours only. She lifted her hands. 4 rings gleamed on her left hand, 1 on her right. Hours to bask in your bride gown white, to dance and drink champagne. That I'll give you for the ender sweeter with it. Then, like the 5 brides before you who sought to replace me here, you'll die a painful death in my house. And the ring so new and shining on your finger will shine on mine. And that's why Patricia left and never came back. And we don't know if she told anybody or didn't tell anybody. Um, but your blood, your tears will only feed my power, so they say, she began with glee. But I am mistress here. If you enter my house as a bride, I will make your wedding gown your shroud. He's weak, Michael Poole, and will never be faithful. He would choose another, and I'm sure to enjoy. Uh oh, and then Colin gets some answers. He dreams of his dad or his uncle, I forget which. And his dad explains why he left everything to Sonya and not him. And he says that Sonya's going to be the one to break the curse, or hopefully break the curse. But you get to hear all of um uh Hester's spells in here, and what happened to Arthur Poole and how she started it all with him. So if you could please hit the like and subscribe, I can talk about this book for hours. I really can. Owens Poole, Amria Poole, she died of anaphylactic shock via poison. She had petty fours. But it's just, where's the page number for this? Page 368. Yeah, this book is almost this. I think it's over 400 pages. Yeah, 433. And the book just ends just like the last one just ends. And it's just, what did I say? 368. Like I said, be prepared for spoilers. Lots and lots of spoilers. Um uh, in this place I call the wind, as it blows your life I end. The horse shied and the winning swirled, as it moaned like a wounded man and sent leaves spinning. With a curse Arthur controlled it. Be damned to you, witch. Father to son, the manna will pass, and under my spell he will do all I ask. With my power your life I take, now turn and bend and break. And she broke his neck. 7, a number of 7, what does it matter? They'll find him here and mourn and grieve, and I will feast on their tears. So anyways, I hope I haven't spoiled too much for you. But I definitely recommend reading both books together. And next year, you will probably get another diatribe from me telling you to wait and do a binge read of all 3. It'll be so much easier to follow the storyline if you read all 3 of them together. It will. Otherwise, please refer to my video on inheritance, and please refer to this video for the mirror next year before you read the next book in this trilogy that will come to me out. And if you could please hit the like and subscribe and let me know I'm doing a good job, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much.